Hello, welcome to Foliage. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to make a spray, and it's going to be in a winter theme. So we're going to use some winter foliage and really these beautiful clean white colours, which I think white and green for Christmas is really, really nice. And a spray, you could use this for different things. Now you could use this as a remembrance item, but you could just as equally put this on your door or on your gate. Because we're using fresh flowers, then obviously they're only going to last for a certain length of time. If they're outside, it depends on the weather. If it's going to be very cold, then that's obviously going to affect flowers. So it depends what you want to do, but a spray is a really nice item to be able to make. So what we're going to use is we're going to use this caged frame, and you can get these pre-made. They're really, really handy because they have the frame, you can hang them up, and they're really quite good for event work. And if you do have one and you're using it at home, then don't throw it away. You can reuse it, which is really, really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a nice base of this winter foliage. And this is just like a pine. Depends what you've got. Don't feel that you have to have exactly the same ingredients that I have. It's whatever you can get. So I just so happen to have this pine, and I'm going to use it to create the framework into which we're going to work. So it's really going to be like a kind of kite-shaped sort of shape. And I've got some nice kind of silver pine as well, which is just beautiful, and this is going to be perfect with our colour scheme. Where I live now, we've got some big hedging right round the whole of the garden, and it had really been left to go completely out of control, but that's fine because I can cut it and use it, so we'll not worry about it. And the thing with foliage like this is you could cut it in October and use it for December, but just leave it outside until you actually need it. So the fact that we've used 2 or 3 different types of pine is giving us a really nice effect, but I also want to bring in a little bit of what feels like normal foliage, just more of a contrast to what we have. The pine is a little bit hard in itself. So I've got this nice eucalyptus, and you need to look at the pieces. This has got a really nice length, so do you know what? We'll just use that down there, and that works really, really well. What you're really looking for with creating a foliage base is a bit of balance between your heavy materials, your textured materials, and your shades of colour, or shades of green, I suppose. But this is kind of like green and silver. We've got berries. We've got a lot of interest going on. And another thing that I think works really well for winter is ivy. So I do have a little bit of ivy here. Now this is a little bit soft, this piece, so I'd rather lose the soft bit, which will just maybe start to look bad, and then we can use these more mature leaves. The mature leaves are really the thing that will survive. To me, ivy gives a really good winter look. And obviously if you've got holly, even better. Just depends what your purpose is, what you want to do. The thing with ivy as well is, like, this has obviously been growing like that. So this is actually the bottom of the stem, even though it's at the top. So if we're going to put it into the water source, we have to remember to put it in the right way. So we've got our base. This is the great thing with these holders. You've got a nice handle for holding it as well. The first flower that I want to put in is actually some beautiful white oriental lilies. Now, I've got 3 of them here. So what we need to do is we need to just see what we've got. We've got 1 that's still just buds and 2 that are in flowers. So this is the bigger flower. So what we'll do is we'll take our bud version and have that down the stem. This one was really our kind of second version. This flower is open, so we'll position it. These will still come out. That won't be a problem. And then these are always a little bit of a problem. This center one, do you leave the buds in the middle? How do you deal with it? It depends. I'm going to keep it as 1. And by putting it there, I've positioned a flower here and a flower there. So we've got like a triangle of oriental lilies there. And that's perfect because that is just taking the weight into the center without being a problem. So our next flower is really going to be our white roses. And this is white Naomi. So I want to have one that really gives us this focal point. And when you look at it from the side, we want to see a bit of a profile in our flowers. So I'm going to stagger these down through the design. And the white Naomi is a really nice head. It's a nice strong rose. It's just a good rose. Good for all types of work, gift work or event work. Now we started in the middle here and went that way. We can also come to what I would call like the return end of our design. Now I've just broken that one. So if you do add a stem and you find that it breaks, there's no point in leaving it in. It's just going to wilt, it's just going to be a problem. So what we can do is we can take it off and then add it in a way that is receded. So we can take it into there, and that's not a problem having that flower in there. It's still working as part of the design and part of the actual line of the main flowers. So another flower I wanted to use was this lovely little orchid, and we're going to split this down, and we're probably going to split it into 3. So this is giving us 3 sets from one stem that all have a good stem for putting into our base. And because they're shorter, we're going to use them in a slightly recessed sort of way. But they're just going to take that white down into the arrangement. This is the only thing with this is you do get a lot of water. I've got 3 gerbras just to give us a contrast. Now because they're a big flower, I want them more to the top end of our design. And then really our final flower is going to be these little white spray carnations. It's not a flower I use very often, and yet when I do use it I think, why don't we use it very often? But years ago when I started learning about flowers and working with flowers, spray carnations were a very popular choice. We used them all the time, and I think in some ways they've probably been a victim to their own popularity and their own usefulness. And I think maybe sometimes people think they're a little bit old-fashioned. But they're still a really good flower. So I'm just going to have a wee tidy up here. and we can see what we're doing. It's very easy to end up, you're working with a whole load of stuff and you actually get to a point where you can't see what you're doing. So we'll bring one of these spray carnations down here. So I really want to make sure it's nice and secure. And the good thing with the spray carnations is we've got this beautiful line. So we can use them to enhance the overall line of our design. And again with these, you can split them down into like little units. So with that one there, I just got 2 stems out of 1 stem. So this is more a flower that you're going to use just to take round the edge and fill in any little spaces that you may have in the centre. Now, there's no reason why you can't use this as a Christmas design rather than a sympathy design. So you could add touches of silver, you could add some silver foliage or silver ribbon, even silver cones is possible. The choice is yours, but ultimately the way of making the actual base design is the same. So I've gone really round the edge with our spray carnations. And that's really just helped our shape and our overall design. And I'm just going to take 1 or 2 up into it. And what this does is this actually completes the shape here. We don't want to waste any little bits neither, so like that's a short stem, but it's got a nice head. And we can come in here. And just one wee bit into here now. Let me get rid of this. What we've got then is we have got a spray that is really in a winter theme with winter foliage, beautiful snow white flowers, nice and floral, but as I say, it's up to you. You could adapt this to suit whatever purpose you want it to be. But an ideal arrangement for a remembrance, for a funeral, with a winter kind of style to it, I think is actually really, really nice. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, then click here to subscribe. We try and have a new video every week with different designs, and it's a real range of designs, and we really hope that you can join us for our next video. Bye for now.